Okay, we are live, I think. Hopefully we are live. And today we are playing Cyberpunk natively on Mac. And we are a couple of hours away from release, I think. But the GOG version has been launched. So I've just downloaded the Mac version and I'm going to launch it for the very first time. So that's why I've gone live today. So thank you very much for joining me on the stream. I can see like a lot of people have joined. And I've labeled this part one because I have to kind of go a bit later. So that's why I labeled it like that. So I've only have I think 2 hours. I've got a phone call. I've got a phone call with Apple, um, whoever like responded to my PR. But I don't know why they scheduled the meeting right in the middle of Cyberpunk being launched. They knew when it was going to launch. I didn't know. But anyway, very exciting to see. This is the very first time Cyberpunk is launching for the first time. I'm going to be testing this on my M3 Max first. And then I've got a whole host of Macs in the background here to test on. I got my M1 Max MacBook Pro, and I've got a base M4 MacBook Pro as well, and I've got my M1 MacBook Air as well. So it's going to be very exciting to see how all of this works. So thank you very much for joining me today. Looks like we have the stream started to work. Let's just make sure our audio is correct. Let's put this like this. Can you hear this? Just let me know if the audio is working correctly. Does my sound okay? Because I've got my air conditioner on in the background, and I've got some kind of like voice filtering on so that you don't hear any background noise. Oh, it's picked up my save game. So even though this is the GOG version, I've synchronized my what? It can see my saves. It must be loading in the same place because where are my saves? Okay, well, anyway, that's interesting. Let's have a look. Let's just make sure my audio is in the correct place. It looks like all of the stuff is in the correct range. Okay, that's graphic settings. Yeah, so this is it. This is the preset for this Mac. So they've tailored presets for each specific Mac device. It's quite interesting seeing this actually working. Because basically, of course, one of the big advantages of Apple Silicon Macs is that there are a limited number of overall configurations. So there aren't that many different Macs that you can actually play on. There's, maybe about 40 or 50 SKUs, maybe. Of course, you can customize as well. So you might have a Mac with like 8 terabytes of solid state drive space, but it might not. But you have a limited number of RAM and GPU core configurations. So you can probably do something like this with for this Mac. Let's see. Well, it's interesting to see. Let me just quit out this. Get the sound working. Yeah, so if you're trying to run this on Steam right now, then this is not going to work. So got my Steam version trying to launch here, and it's giving me an error message. So the GOG version is like, I think the GOG version is out right now. So that's the kind of one that we want to be looking out for. I guess the Steam version will be out in about an hour and 20 minutes. So if you want to wait a little bit longer, then you can do that. There's also an App Store link as well. So I do. Where is it gone? I'll just find it. Yeah, it is there. It exists. I did look at it earlier, and you can actually buy it. Where is it? Yeah. So, but anyway, let's launch this. Let's launch the GOG version anyway, because that is working. Try and get the sound working as well, because I need to capture sound. I can hear the speakers are working. I'm not sure why the sound's not working. Well, I do want to get sound working. Wait a sec. Sorry about this. Technical issues. Because if I load up one of my... Yeah, so it's just going to be boring because I just want to set this up correctly. before we like launch into this.
No hunting for Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that is working. So why isn't the sound of Cyberpunk running through the correct platform? Okay, so I'm running this on my M3 Max with 48 gigabytes of RAM, 40 GPU cores. So it's the standard M3 Max MacBook Pro that I've been using the entire time. I will be testing out on the low end machine, so don't worry about that. It is going to happen later today. So I have about 2 hours to test games. So we're going to do this now, see how this works. The audio. Do I have audio? Do I have the ability to set audio device? Where's my audio device settings? I want to be able to like find an audio device to set this to. So I've got headphones, because I want to put this onto my, let me just see if I can just tweak this sound so you guys can actually hear it. Let's put it into that. Okay, you guys can hear it, I can't hear it, that's fine. Okay, so let me just turn down the menu music. Let me know if it's if the gameplay gets too loud. Okay, let's see if my controller's working. Oh yeah, cool. DualSense controller is working just like on the crossover version of the game. And let's try for this Mac. So this is an interesting setting. Of course, it's not necessarily that relevant for us to do actual testing on, but let's try this. Can I turn VSync off? So I need to do that in video, don't I? VSync off, and maximum FPS off. So I'm going to try and run this at higher than 1080p. Let's just get like an actual benchmark running. Just see how this goes. Okay, good. Sorry about this. I'm reading the chat at the moment now. Yeah, I'll be testing out on my M1 8GB. That's one of the main things I want to be testing. The base M3 with 16 gigabytes of RAM should run this stable according to the information supplied by CD Projekt Red. They have a whole, I made a short about it as well. And there's a whole bunch of information about which Mac configurations are going to run at which graphics presets. Okay, this is useless. I hate that you can't quit out of benchmarks in this, but frame timing's good. Okay, so this is useless because we're capped at 60 FPS for some reason. So I'm just gonna see if I can uncap this so that we're gonna get some, you know, actual usable data. Otherwise, it's just kind of useless if everything's just 60 FPS. And I think I'm gonna have to pump up the resolution as well because 1080p. The thing is that I do want to compare performance between like the base models, like the M4, and also compare them against the higher end models, like the M3 Max. So I probably will do a bunch of benchmarks for 1080p, which is obviously not great, but not indicative of how you'd actually play on like a 16-inch screen like this. But I'm actually going to try. I'll pump this up to 4K, see how we go on that. Am I running ray tracing? No, I'm just using the For This Mac preset at the moment, so it's not particularly useful. VSync is on or off? VSync is off. So why am I capped on frame rate? So let's just try this again, okay? Let's go to video. Let's see if I can push this up again. Where's my metal HUD gone? Yeah. So 240 FPS, full screen. Let's put this onto... Does that change the FPS settings here? No, okay. So the For This Max setting will change to custom if I change any of the VSync settings, which is interesting. Let's just try to run this again. I might have to put this into full screen mode in order to get this actually running. Okay, again, we're capped at 60. I think it's to do with the compositor, because we're running this in a windowed mode. So what I'll do is, instead of like trying to run a benchmark over and over again, I'll load up a save game, and then we'll try to tweak these settings again. Yeah, I had out max FPS turned off, and then I switched it to there's a setting target FPS. Okay, yeah, I'll tweak that in a minute. Let me just turn on my background noise reducer thing. Yeah, I'm running an air conditioner background. It might be a bit noisy. Did you turn off dynamic resolution? No. Yeah, I haven't tweaked anything at the moment. I've literally been in the game for 5 minutes. I just finished downloading it, so it's still early days. I'm just gonna have a tweak on the settings first. Okay, there's a target FPS setting, so I need to change that. Thank you, chat, for letting me know. Yeah, let's have a look. Ugh, so there's a target FPS. I see. Okay, so there's a dynamic resolution scale. That's why. And there's a scaling here. Okay. You have to set the number bigger. Okay. Let me just before we start doing a benchmark, which means I can't interact with the game or tweak any settings, I'm just gonna load up a save game, and then we'll take it from there. So what do you want? Well, I try the M4 base. Yes, I do have an M4 base here. It's a MacBook Pro, base M4, 10 CPU cores, 10 GPU cores. So I'll give that a go. So how did this load my saves? Because I didn't actually load this into. I didn't actually load red the red launcher. Maybe it picked up my Steam saves. Okay, let's just tweak the graphics settings because we. I think what I need to do is change the monitor settings. So this my full screen. Maybe I'll use windowed mode. Will I get high frame rate? That locks to 60. I'm running macOS Sequoia. VSync. Let me just see in game, is that still 60? Well, I can feel adaptive trigger support, which is nice. I can feel the resistance of the DualSense controls. Okay, how can I get this game to run at proper uncapped frame rates? Because we have two options here, windowed and non-windowed, basically. I'm playing the GOG version of the game, which is the only version that's released so far. So here I can see the true frame rate, which is 120 FPS. How do I get this to? Yeah. Let me see. How do I do this? I'm on GOG relaunch on full screen mode. Okay, sure. So what I'll do, let me just try that because I haven't relaunched properly yet. Change the video settings. These just changes to full screen. So there's still going at 60. Let's quit and then try this again. Okay. The game does launch really fast, so... Let's get this car. I like this car.
Howdy, Night City. Welcome back. My guest tonight is Lieutenant Sarah Kokoski.
That's a fast load of a game. Oh yeah, here's what my top blew off. Okay, so why can't I get this to run past 60 FPS? So I've changed the target FPS. Let's just... I think it's the dynamic... It must be the dynamic resolution setting. Seems like it's V-synced, yeah. It's not actually... Here, it's saying that it's... V-sync is off. I'll turn the maximum FPS setting off. Change it to Metal FX upscaling. Metal FX upscaling. So, keep this in full screen. Let me turn this off. So it's saying that I mean, all I really want is to get more than 60. So what I'll do is I'll just change my monitor settings. It's a good time for me to switch to 4K anyway, because in order to stream this, I'm mirroring onto my capture card. Should I do... No, I should do 1080. I'll do 1080p 120 hertz, so it should be this one. Yeah, everyone's... I understand that you can't play on Steam. I'm playing the GOG version. It should be fine. The Steam version will come very, very soon. Try windowed mode borderless. Will that work? Okay, let's see. Because I don't want it to cap to 120 FPS either, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. Let's get a good car going. Yeah, it's 80 degrees. Yeah, I want to stretch it to make it full screen. Okay, got it. Well, it's unlikely that this game will render at higher than 100 FPS anyway. So if I can... this capture card is showing 120. Whoa. Okay, let me just tweak my settings as well, because it hasn't picked up my control settings, which is invert. I'm an inverty player, so... I forgot how to play this game. Let's get my car. Is that my car? Where's the hood off? This is an M3 Max machine, so we're gonna push this a little bit harder than just 1080p. Okay, but I'm impressed. We have like proper DualSense adaptive trigger support here. I can feel like the resistance of the trigger. I feel this, you know. Okay, this is pretty good. It is 1080p though, so I'm not expecting too much. Okay, let's go back into the city. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's we'll do like different resolutions very soon. Okay, what I'm gonna do is tweak some of these settings, and we'll play around with stupid. 5 to 10 VSync off every time. That's better. This is the for this max setting, so it's not exactly clear what that means, but at the moment I'm seem to be, you know, running pretty well. It is on the App Store. This Cyberpunk is on the App Store, so you can buy it now, but it's going to be double the price compared to the Steam or the GOG versions, and it is also much larger as well. So I wouldn't really buy it on the App Store if you can. It's very cool. Cyberpunk on Steam is updated and the macOS requirements show now. Yeah, you can press the install button, but it's not going to work just because of the because it's not ready yet, as far as I can tell. But yeah, it's beautiful to see that this game is working. Let's just see. Let's try some like equivalent settings, right? I don't want to use the for this Mac because that doesn't really give me much information. So normally what I've been testing at is the equivalent of high at 1080p. Let's just try this out. I think the App Store version is double the size because of the way that it handles different language voice recordings. So half of those files are actually voice recordings for every single language. That's my theory anyway. I think that on the Steam version, if you select a different language, it will download a different pack. Okay, so... Okay, just gonna check something as well. Tip. Let's call this one's game mode as well. Cyberpunk memory 8 GB. Let's just see how this rolls with graphics turned. If you press the green button, it'll go straight into full screen. Let me try this borderless launch. Can I use the launch? Can I use the launch? How do I apply a launch parameter? Let me see. Thank you very much, David, for joining as a member. I don't think it's available on Steam at the moment. Why can't I add an argument for launching this? Oh, okay. I really doubt that that's going to work anyway. Let's just check on the Steam version because everyone's begging for the Steam version. Do we still have issues with this? Yeah, it's not launching properly. It's still broken at the moment. It's not available in India. Let me just share with you a link in the chat. So if you're on the chat, you'll see this is the actual the actual App Store link. So you're not going to find it by searching because the Mac App Store is like terrible at like figuring out how to actually find the game. But if you know, the GOG version is like half the price. So definitely recommend the GOG version instead. Okay, let's play this again. So on 8 GB models, the game doesn't boot, or does it run like shit? Okay, who knows? I'll be testing this out very soon. I've only managed to get in the game for like 15 minutes, so we're still in early days. Verify the game files. Oh, okay, yeah. That shouldn't take too long because there's no files in there. Yeah, this ain't launched yet. This ain't ready yet. Okay, let's just experiment a bit. Is the app I provided led to nothing? Well, it's definitely working in the UK, so maybe, you know, usually Australians and like people like Mr. Mac, right? They have better performance in theory because they can get the game. Because normally publishers set the game to run straight away in the East. Okay, it's not bad. Let's see. Let's just have a look at what the RT looks like. So let's see. Path tracing. I mean, maybe I'll use like a ray tracing. Let's put ray tracing medium on. Let's see. This is ray tracing medium. I think really what I should be testing is path tracing, isn't it? Turn on FSR. We are using Metal FX, which should be superior to FSR. FSR frame gen. Whoops, sorry, dude. There's a bit of like pop in there. Do you see that pop in of this road coming up here? So this mode is ray tracing turned on.
Suspect's vehicle has been located. Details have been sent. All units be advised. Suspect remains in the vicinity.
I'm not sure why the App Store is so big, because I mean, surely they must have tried to figure out the issue with all the voice audio files being added in together. Surely that's like a problem, right? Couldn't it be solved? I'm not in India, I'm in the UK. Okay, ray tracing is kind of a waste of time, I think. So, David, thank you very much for gifting memberships for this channel. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome to the memberships of this YouTube channel. I don't really post that much, so if you've got any ideas of what you want me to do, then let me know. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is let's do a proper preset, so we can do a comparison with the Windows version of the game, because I'm gonna try and compare this with Crossover. Let's try. So I'll run this at high. Thank you for gifting 50 memberships. That's really cool. Thank you. Thank you, David. You got such a generic name. You need a different nickname so I can remember you. Right now, it's not possible to install this game on Steam, but we can play the GOG version, which is pretty cool. So this is 1080p high. Now, personally, I know that a lot of people say that 1080p is dog shit, but I think it's like perfectly playable on a Mac. We're going at like 100 FPS. Seems like David is a fan of Mac gaming. Thank you for being a fan of me and of Mac gaming. Great, I have to get out of this car now. Ah. These enemies are quite spongy on their GCPD. I don't really know how to play this game properly. Ooh, stealing a car. Police car, eh? Ooh, I did not do well there. Okay, let's find like a... Let's find like a nice stretch of land that I can... Here, I use this one quite a lot. And then we'll use this to do some kind of serious benchmarking. Go to Dogtown. I thought I just loaded Dogtown. Yeah, that's good. It's a good place to This is Dogtown, right? I've used this place before, so I'll make a new save here. Wait a second, let me come out the... What? Is the Steam version ready yet? No. Just come out of this, because I need this. I need this aggravation. Okay, good. Ooh. Let me get my real car. This guy. My thoughts on performance so far is that this seems to be really good. Ow. Yeah, I will try out the M1 MacBook Air very soon. What I need to do is make a copy of the file itself. So I've got my GOG file. I need to make a copy because I just downloaded it here. I need a copy for this on my NAS. So hopefully I can put this together. Okay, Cyberpunk. Okay. Make a copy. I can put it in the thing. Oh my God, David's done another 50 memberships. It's crazy. Whoa, that's 100 memberships. Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate it. I'm sure you have interacted quite a lot with this channel before and with me, but it's been a while since I did an actual live stream and interacted with the fans. Thank you. 150 actually. Holy moly. Oh my God, 150. That's wild. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's putting a smile on my face. I have to tell my wife about this. Thanks so much. Okay, good. So, can you run the benchmarks at high RT settings at 4K so we can compare performance versus PC? Okay, yeah, let's the line. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that in a minute. Thank you everyone for joining my memberships. As a member of the channel, I don't have that much to do. I don't have that much content which is gated off for members only. If you have any suggestions, then let me know. I'm gonna do some like more shorts and stuff, and I can do some Q&As as well for members only. Okay, so let's do some like serious benchmarks now. Okay, so let's go to the benchmark section. Okay, let's have a look. How much frame rate can you squeeze out of low settings? Probably a lot. Since we're getting like 80 to 100 on 1080p high, then I anticipate it being pretty good. Okay, let's look at our graphic settings. Okay, so we're on Metal FX quality mode. quick preset high. So that's the preset that we're testing out here. So let's look at that particular benchmark. So what we'll do is we'll compare it against we'll use this to compare against the M1 MacBook Air when we get there. You really need to think about that. You got 150 extra channel members. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, I do really need to think about it. How do I think it'll perform on the M4? So I do have an M4 machine here. So I will be testing this sometime today. It will be tested, so don't worry too much. I will be testing it on the base MacBook Air as well. This is not a good test of the overall performance because we are capped at 120 FPS. If anyone can tell me how to uncap this in full screen mode, then that'll be very helpful. I do have an M1 Max, and I will be testing it on the M1 Max as well. So I'll be running the same benchmark over and over again. So this is... Okay. Okay, so this is for my future notes. I need to write this down. Someone got this for my 40th birthday. And I'll write the notes down so that I can refer to this a little bit later, a bit easier. So we need to see this. So, okay, so run at 1080. So M3 Max, 1080p high preset. Got 104. Okay, so let's now run this at ultra. Now let's try. So if ray tracing is ultra, that means no, path tracing is not turned on either. This one, path tracing is on. Overdrive, yeah. Let's try this one. Overdrive. Ray tracing overdrive. So let's try this. Okay. So this is with this will only work on Macs which have ray tracing cores, right? So anything M3 or above. I'll try frame gen as well in a minute. Okay. Just writing my notes down so when I come to edit this a bit later, then it's not gonna go crazy. Okay. Why doesn't it let you install on Steam? Because it's not officially released on Steam yet. My VSync is off, but it seems to be capped at the display rate cap, so I can't push it past 120 Hertz, which is what the screen is capped at. The capture card is capped at. Can you display the game in 6K using external displays in M4 Max? I mean, probably. Okay, so remember, guys, this is path traced. So it's kind of insane how good this is. This is without frame gen. Okay, so we're getting 24.29. Okay, and let's try. We can try. Let me put it back to high again, and then let's turn frame generation on. Let's try with high with frame gen on. So we have FSR 3.1 frame gen only. Okay, let's try that. So we don't have frame gen, the metal effects frame interpolation, right? So that means that that's going to be a feature of macOS Tahoe. Hey, how come we're getting higher than 160 FPS now? 120. FSR should be better than Metal because until the Metal 4 update. Yeah. But the Metal 4 update will come presumably once macOS Tahoe gets released. So probably in the next 6 months. Yeah, FSR 3 frame gen is pretty cool. I wonder what Tahoe is. It is silky smooth on this screen. Some games uncap FPS and benchmark tests. It was capped earlier though. When I was running on a 60 hertz display, it was not doing that well. Okay, good. So high with frame gen turned on, we're getting 179. Okay, good. Let's run all of those tests again, but at 4K. 4K or 1440p? Probably 4K. Let's see how this thing runs at 4K. I mean, realistically, I'll probably play this in 1440p. Do path tracing and frame gen. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Path tracing and frame gen. So basically, we're going to do overdrive again with frame generation turned on. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so that's all right. Feels way more jittery. You can see the frame time is awful. Resolution scaling might be limiting the FPS. Yeah, quite possibly. This is an M3 Max MacBook Pro with 40 GPU cores, so it's a high-end M3 Max. DLSS 4 is better than NetFX, yeah. Why is there such consistent jitter on this? The path tracing is doing something. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, something's gone wrong there. That was much worse with the frame gen on. Maybe it doesn't like frame gen. So ray tracing overdrive, we had MSync, so not MSync, VSync turned off. We had frame gen FSR 3.1 turned on. Okay, let's try this again. What about ray tracing high? There's no high preset. There's an ultra preset without path tracing. With frame gen. Okay, let's try it with frame gen off. So there's an overdrive and then there's an ultra. So the ultra does not have path tracing, which is the killer. And then yeah, the ultra does not have path tracing. We'll try that. Can you please without the metal FX test? So if I turn off metal effects, It's just a tricky thing to get doing. I'm just going to use the presets because it's just easier. Let's go Ultra. Let's try Ultra. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so this is... Metal Effects on Auto will change the resolution dynamically. There's no point on leaving it on Auto. Game could be running at 360p. Are you sure that's correct? Because it's not dynamic resolution scaling, it's something else. Auto means it could upscale using performance. Okay. What does Metal Effects Auto mean? I guess I could turn it off. Yeah, I could redo these tests again with it turned off. That will give us a better understanding. Okay, so I'm gonna getting footage for the video. Let's put this at high and then turn Metal Effects off. Right. Okay, so let's do this again. Okay, so my big boy shootout. Okay, let's do this again with Metal Effects turned off. And then so we'll put this on high, and then we'll turn Metal Effects off, and that'll give us our high setting with Metal Effects off. Okay. Okay, so high Metal Effects off. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is making a big difference because I guess this is the true frame rate. This is high with no upscaling applied to it at all. My VSync would have turned back on when you scrolled back through the presets. I think it's off because the frame rate's over 60. Yeah, this is meant to be the true native performance. Let's just try that with Metal Effects turned on again. So I use the normal high preset again. Okay, mercifully, this benchmark isn't actually that take that long. It's like a minute, I think. Yeah, I'll go to 4K very soon. Okay, 1080p. So this is 78. Okay. Okay, let's do it again. This puts to high. VSyncs remained off, which is good. So this is Metal Effects set to quality mode. So it's non-auto. So that's a weird one. It's not auto, it's on quality mode. Okay, let's try that. So this is high with Metal Effects quality mode. I don't know what's up with the Steam release. Something weird. Officially, this game releases in about 30 minutes, so I think that that's probably the main factor, is that they've just put it on GOG first. I'm not going to try this on the M1 Pro because I don't have one, but I do have an M1 Max. So I will be trying that out next. Okay, I want to put in my list of which one you want me to test next. So I've got about an hour and a half. Okay, so I've got 4 Macs that I'm testing today, okay? So on the bottom left list, you'll see just under the chat, it's in tiny writing. Okay, I've got the M3 Macs, which we're testing on now, M1 Max, M1 MacBook Air, and also the M4 MacBook Pro, okay? So in a minute, I'll put this to the vote, or if someone super chats, then I will do that one next. Okay, so this is at 104. So the upscaling did a lot of work getting this to run better, okay? Okay, let's try the ray tracing ultra and with metal effects turned off. Okay. Ultra. Metal off. I don't have an M17 GPU, but I do have the I do have the 8 GPU version of the M1 MacBook Air. Can you try the Steam Deck preset plus native resolution plus Metal Effects quality without frame generation if the preset is available? If the Steam Deck preset's available. Yeah, ray tracing ultra is quite intensive. I can't really see that big of a difference. It is killing frame rate quite a lot. I'll smack this back onto auto as well for Metal Effects because that's gonna make a big difference. Performance feels pretty good, but you know, we've been spoiled. I do feel like the running this game through crossover has also been really good too. So both are very playable. Okay, ultra. I'll leave this in auto. Okay, let's see how this goes. How much better is performance versus crossover? That is what we're going to test. So there's RT Ultra with Metal FX on auto. So pretty much about 70-80% more frames. Can I know, is this the 40-core M3 Max? Yes, it's a 40 GPU core. I'm also going to try this on the base M1 chip. Yes, I will do. Okay, let's put it to a vote, I guess. Let me just find the vote button. I'll do a poll. Let me just start a poll. I'm just going to write all these down. I'll write all down all the options. Okay, so the options are okay. Before I continue. Okay, which Mac should I test on next? Okay, so I'm going to start this poll now, which is asking which Mac we're going to test on next. Okay, now before we do another device, I'm going to run this at 4K instead. Okay, so we're going to put this at 4K, but I'll put this to a vote now so that you can see which Mac you want me to go on next. If I try to install this on a Mac, the Steam version is not available yet. This is the GOG version. Not much you can do about it except wait. Wow. So the GOG version, I reckon it will be out in about an hour or two. In the next half an hour or so. Okay, let's put this at 4K. So I use this tool to punch this in at 4K properly. Okay, teeny tiny writing. So this is true. This is true 4K, no upscaling. GOG version should be cheaper. Yeah, you want the Ultimate Edition. That's the only one which has a Mac port. Yeah, I will be doing some gameplay. I already did gameplay earlier. How much better is the M4 Max than M3 Max? I'm getting an M4 Max tomorrow from Apple, which is nice. I'll be able to test that out properly then. Okay, so we should be able to pump this up to 4K now. Here we go. Okay, so let's do the suite of tests again, okay? Not for this Mac. Okay, high with metal effects turned on. VSync off. The for this Mac setting changed the resolution as well, which is interesting. So when you cycle through, it actually changed resolution and changed the VSync settings. It's quite an invasive setting, because when you cycle through it, it just does it for you. Okay, so high metal effects turned on. Okay, let's try this at 4K. Let's see if I can also get yeah, that's good. Metal effects 4K, let's have a look. Capped at 60. So it's on quality mode for metal effects. 4K is running at 36 FPS. Mac gaming is finally safe. I'm not sure about that. I mean, we've been able to play Cyberpunk on a Mac for a really long time now, the Windows version anyway. So I don't really consider it. This is a big deal, don't get me wrong, okay? But the fact is that Cyberpunk has been playable on a Mac for 2 years now. It's been 2 years since basically whiskey was invented, and then Isaac got Cyberpunk working on his like M1 MacBook Air, running at like 12 FPS. So yeah, right now there's a vote going on for the next machine I'm going to run this on, and the M4 base is winning by a long shot. 50% vote for that. Do you put? Yeah, you could play this really well through. I have a feeling that Game Porting Toolkit was made to get Cyberpunk working. Why am I not working today? Walking today? I'm really tired because I played table tennis for 2 hours yesterday and I'm exhausted. Okay, so this is 38 FPS. Okay, let's try this without let's try this with the metal effects turned off. So off. Yeah, let's do this again. Okay, metal effects off. Why doesn't it install on Steam? Because it's not been released yet. Got some recommendations for walking treadmill. So yeah, I'm using the walking pad Z1, which is really good. Why don't install on Steam? I can't answer that question, okay? I don't really know why you can't install this on Steam. The official release date is in about 18 minutes time. So I suspect that is the point at which we'll actually be able to play the game on Steam. Would the M4 Mac Mini be better than the MacBook? The Mini's good because it has active cooling. So can you install on Steam right now? That'd be interesting. I can't seem to get it working on Steam. Oh yeah, I should try this with FrameGen turned on. Also, so 20. I need to test that 1080p then. So with FrameGen turned on. Let's try high. Let's try high with FrameGen. Let's try high with FrameGen at 4K. Okay, let's. FrameGen on. Okay, let's see how this goes. FrameGen's giving this, even though it's got a terrible looking bar, frame time bar, it actually looks like it's running pretty smoothly. I want to see if you think it's possible to run this on iPad Pro. If the reverse of play cover were achieved. The iPad and iPhone are pretty locked down platforms, so you know that's not gonna happen. I will try an M1 MacBook Air, but the M4 base has won the vote. Yeah, the input lag will be pretty bad because truly generated frames is only going to be about 30. So with Metal FX 10 on quality mode, you get 38 38 frames. And then here we're getting about 60. So it's inserting those frames and you can't react to those frames in a game properly. So it looks nice, but you can't react correctly. So you're going to have input lag. I have no doubt they're going to try to get this game working on iPad at some point in the future. Okay, good. Let's try the overdrive functions. So let's try ray tracing ultra. So this is going to go really badly because we do have Metal Effects Auto turned on, but we'll try with off in a minute as well. So I'm anticipating because with I can't remember what the score was before, but it's going to be bad. It's like 30. Think again. I'm afraid if you do that again, then I'm gonna have to ban you from the chat. So don't spam. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on the for this max setting in a minute and do some actual gameplay. Surprisingly not bad for ray tracing overdrive. It's not overdrive, this is ultra. So no path tracing, but still bad. Why can't I install on Steam? I don't think it's released on Steam yet. We're playing the GOG version, which is cheaper, I think. This is the native version of Cyberpunk. Okay, good. So it's going at 20 FPS. And let's just try it with Metal Effects off. So Metal Effects off, I think it's going to go about, yeah, we're getting single digit frames. The M3 is the first generation with ray tracing cores, so I'm not optimistic about that as working well. One thing I need to test is 1080p with frame gen turned on the high settings. Once it turns 4 o'clock, I'll try installing the Steam version. I wonder if that's going to be different. I wonder if the game performs differently on different launchers. I don't think that they will be different. The only difference is the Mac App Store version is going to have, but much larger, probably due to the way that it handles the different language voice files. Probably. Can we see the temperatures of the M1 Mac? Yeah, I'll test that soon. Heroic is a good replacement for whiskey, just not as well known. And you can install Windows games from the Epic Game Store as well. So stuff like Rocket League works pretty much very well through Heroic. But you can also run the Epic Game Store through Crossover as well, through the latest versions. I've just bought this Cyberpunk on Mac, on GOG, and you couldn't download an offline installer from the website, so I had to download it through GOG Galaxy. I did buy the Ultimate version. I'm not sure whether you have the Ultimate version or not. How much VRAM do you think the GPU is using right now? I think we'd have a bit more detail if I was using macOS Tahoe, because the metal HUD there is a bit more detailed. Okay, I think this is about 6 or 7 FPS. Yeah, M4. I don't have an M4 Pro. This is an M3 Max, which is going to be similar-ish to an M4 Pro. Okay, do you have an M2 Air to test? I don't have an M2 Air to test. I did sell my M2 Air, but I'll be testing it on the M1 very soon. Okay, so that is my test at 4K. Let's put this on the other let's put this on the other test, which is called for this Mac. Yeah. So when you apply this for this Mac, then it actually changes the resolution. So which is very interesting. Like it'll change all of the video settings and everything. So I turned it on to for this Mac, and it turned it to it applied Metal Effects dynamic resolution scaling. So what I'm gonna do is turn VSync off, and then we'll try playing the game. Let's actually play. And then see what the performance is like. I'm playing this through GOG, yeah, so that's the only version that's been released.
Thanks for having me.
I'm just going to demonstrate what this for this Mac setting is like, because basically it's capped this at 60 FPS because I think we have a target frame rate to go for. Let's just drive on a bit because I just want to show what this is actually like. So for this Mac setting, what it does is that we have this experience which is trying to lock up the perfect experience down to 60 FPS. Kind of hate this car. It just handles really weirdly. So this is running at 60 FPS cap. And I think the reason that this is must be happening is because, whoop, sorry.
All units in Santo Domingo.
Oh, great. I've committed a crime through my bad driving. Okay. So I think what's happened is that there's some kind of setting is tweaked. Yeah, here we are. What we want to do is see what it's really like. What happens if we try to target 120 frames instead? Will it go over 60? I think what I need to do is put this back to 1080p. And I've got a couple of other benchmarks I want to test first. So let's just put this back to 1080p at that's 120 hertz. Then I'll test out for this max setting. It's an interesting one because this for this max setting just makes it easier to manage. If you're a noob, right, and you want the game to work at 60 frames per second, then there's no point tweaking it. You just want it to work, right? Let's try this again. So I need to run for this Mac for some gameplay. Okay. Let's get some. Let's do this again. Okay, for this Mac, dynamic resolution scaling, and then VSync. I'll turn it off. try that again.
Howdy, howdy, Night City.
You have a 60 hertz screen. No, I don't have a 60 hertz screen. I have a 120 hertz screen, and I've just tweaked the settings so that we are we're kept at 120 hertz this time. Okay, so this time this is the 0116. Okay, so this is 120 hertz screen. Okay, and we've got for this Mac turned on. So this is with VSync turned off. So I think it's always going to try to cap this at I think it's always going to try to cap this at 60 with the default for this Mac setting. Do I have a temperature? I wouldn't worry too much about temperature at this moment. I'm just trying to look at frame rates right now. Okay, so there's a lot of like dynamic resolution scaling being employed here. Why does it do that? It's really annoying. The menu. Okay, for this Mac, right? So it specifically wants to hit 60 FPS, and it specifically wants to VSync at 60. But if I turn VSync off, then it's not actually targeting 60. It's actually going a bit higher than 60. But it could go to 60. And you might want to keep it at 60 just because of thermal performance. Because like people are saying, this is now running at like 80 FPS. Is that right? Yeah, 70 to 80 FPS. So, you know, thermal throttling is an issue, but not on this particular machine. This is nice and cool. Okay. The last thing I want to do with my M3 Max is basically run the benchmark for high with metal effects quality and frame gen turned on. So that's what I'm going to do now. And then we're going to switch it up. We're going to run the base M4 chip and see how low-end devices, because I mean, I know that the high-end devices are going to work well. I don't really care that much about the M3 Max, but something like the a base M4, you know, the $600 Mac Mini, how's that going to work? Okay, so let's just do a high preset. So I wanted to do high and then test out frame gen on. Okay, see what kind of frame rate we're getting here. Okay, so this one was, let me see, 0119, high metal effects quality with frame gen. Okay, so this is just 1080p quality mode. After the M4 base, the M4 base is basically going to perform the same with 10 GPU cores. It's going to be the same on the MacBook Air and the Mac Mini. The main difference is that it has active cooling. It runs about average 35 to 40 FPS on an M1. With your base M1, is it going to be your base M1? Does it have 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes of RAM? Okay, so this concludes my let me see, my tests, I think. Well, 177 frames per second. So that's with frame gen turned on. So normally it's 104 FPS, but with frame gen turned on, it becomes 177, which is pretty cool, pretty impressive. With metal interpolation, with the metal frame interpolation, then we, in theory, should get better performance out of that. Okay. Just be patient, guys. It'll be out sometime today. You've waited, years for this to go through. I mean, what's the point of rushing this now? Okay, let's test out something else. So I bought this MacBook Pro M4 specifically for this test today. Apple wouldn't send me an M4 chip, so I had to go and buy one myself. Let me just set this up. Okay. It's a really quick way of pairing up a controller of my Magic Keyboard, which should work, I think. It's not working. Oh, I just did it. Try to get my trackpad to pair. Just trying to get my network connection working. Trackpad working. People working. Okay, we good? We good. We good. Holy moly! David's gone for 200. Holy moly! How did this happen? Why am I being gifted so many subs today? Okay, we are. Holy poop! Thanks, David. Okay. Holy crap! Thank you. Okay, so let's put this into my. Thank you so much, David. It's crazy. Holy crap! I'm gonna have to tell my wife 200 memberships. That's seriously nuts. I mean, you've got a lot of disposable income. Okay, I need to copy this game over, and then I need to make my notes. So I've got the M4 base, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 10 GPU cores, 10 CPU cores. Performance on this is going to be broadly the same on all of the M4 generations. So that's the iMac, the MacBook Air, and the Mac Mini. And the main difference is you have two configurations. Basically, you got 8 GPU cores or 10 GPU cores. It's actually quite hard to find 8 GPU cores, except in the iMac and then the lower end MacBook Air. And then you also have active cooling as well. So this laptop does have active cooling, so it's going to be easier to keep consistent temperatures. Let me just pair up my controller as well. Which has better performance, M1 Pro or M4? It's quite close, but the M4 generation supports features which the M1 doesn't support. So you might find some games work better. Some games which, for example, which force ray tracing support might run better on the M4 generation, even though it has fewer GPU cores. I'm just going to pee and I'll be right back. Okay, game hasn't copied fully yet, but we're ready. So what have I missed in the chat? Yeah, I'm about to test this. I'll be able to test this once the game copies. So I've downloaded it from GOG. In theory, it's DRM free. It's not going to copy the save games, is it? Let me see if Steam is gonna work. Can I install the Steam version of Steam yet? Of Cyberpunk yet? Oh, something's happening. What's cool about the Steam as well is that it'll draw in it'll draw in networking data even from Windows version of the game because they're quite similar. What's the difference between the platforms? Basically, there's no difference between any of the platforms because the main thing is that the App Store version of the game is not was much larger. Also, the App Store version is going to be way more expensive as well. So, I'd always choose to buy the PC version. Yeah, so it looks like everyone, if you own Cyberpunk 2077, it looks like the Mac version has been released on Steam. So this is different to the issue I had before. It's saying reserving space. Before it was like a 1 kilobyte download. And now we can download the 59 gig version. So it should be pretty good. Okay, so I've got my list of things I need to do. I need to do I need to do 1080p high. Okay, so let's make sure that we are running 120 hertz display here. Otherwise, it's not really a good test. Can I run this DRM-free version? Yeah, so what we want to do is get the 120 hertz version. So 1080p, 1920 by 1080, variable, 120 hertz. Let's do that one. Okay, 120 hertz, that works. Then we want to output the audio to the correct place. Okay, so this is running on the base M4 with 10 GPU cores and 10 CPU cores. What I'm going to do is... Oh, this is good. Downloading fast. I don't have my save games here. Copying the file worked? Yes. If you have the GOG version of Cyberpunk and you just copy the downloaded file from that's the whole point of GOG, is like it's a DRM-free installer. So yeah. It is basically easy. This game is like super easy to pirate. Right. If you really wanted to. Because the GOG version is basically completely DRM-free. It's a good thing, you know. I want to wait until this is finished because I prefer to run the Steam version. Because do I have my save games here? How is it loading my save games? So saying let's all add. No, let's support the developers of the game. Okay, that's the way. You miss out on lots of features like Steam Cloud saves and things like that. You know what? I don't need to download this right now. So let's pause that. So as long as I have save games, then I'm good to go. I also have my save games from ages ago, from April last year. So when I was maybe testing. Where's the areas I was testing before? Here we are, down on the street. Do I know if Apple paid CDPR to port this to Mac? That's a question I'll ask on my call with Apple a bit later today. I have to finish in about half an hour, so hopefully we'll do some benchmarking.
Howdy, Night City. Welcome back. My guest tonight is
Guys, if you can afford a Mac,
Welcome to the show.
then you can probably afford to then you can probably afford to play to pay the full price for this game, because it's not that much of it's not that expensive to buy a computer game. Okay. Oh, what's annoying is that hasn't copied over my inversion settings. Okay. So let's just see what this is. Let's just put this on for this Mac for now. And for this Mac, I'll turn VSync off. So it's trying to apply a 30 FPS. So, okay, so this is the for this Mac setting. So just checking what this is. With dynamic resolution scaling, it's targeting 30, but I want it to target something a bit higher. What? I want it to target 60. So the base M4, they're targeting 30 for some reason. Can that do it? It can target 60. So why doesn't it target 60 if it does? I mean, come on, guys. I just wanted notes. This Mac 30 hertz, but it can go to 60. So what the for this Mac setting for the base M4 MacBook Pro is trying to set the dynamic resolution to 30, but it can hit 60. Like here we are going at 60. Let's call in. It's lowering the resolution, but I think it looks fine. I mean, some of it is a bit blurry. That's just the window effect. Get into a gunfight. Let me just roll a bit. So, I mean, in terms of gameplay, I always prefer 60 over 30, of course, but it's very close to 60. I'm playing with the controller. DualSense supports the adaptive controls. Yeah. So adaptive, it can feel the resistance on this. It's hard to press, which is cool. I'm just writing down some notes. Okay, so I think it's clearly capable. Let's get into a gunfight, okay? I'm not running the beta version of Steam at this moment, but it shouldn't make a difference to the game. It does support haptic triggers. That's the resistance, right? Haptic triggers are the resistance you feel. Yeah, the lower. I think it's always better. I mean, to get 60 frames at the expense of graphical quality. I mean, you can see this lady's hair is really heavily upscaled, but I still think it looks pretty good. Let's get in a gunfight. So we're still managing to hit that 60. Yeah. Okay, let's do some benchmarking. Okay. Okay, let's do some proper benchmarking. Yeah, I'll test out spatial audio a little bit too. Okay, let's put this on high, and then we'll test this out at Metal Effects quality. I'm going to presume trackpad integration is that it's going to basically be haptic feedback. I haven't tried it. I haven't tried the M3 Ultra. I returned my M3 Ultra machine. So this is Metal Effects turned on with high settings. But the benchmark is GPU intensive. I mean, from that gameplay that I did, we were getting about 50 to 60 FPS. So I think you can expect a bit better than this. Surprise CDs, welcome to the stream. Getting your M4 refurbished in the mail later today for testing. Might even return it today. Yeah, so here we're getting 38. Okay, so maybe what we want to try is Metal FX off. How do you get that overlay on Mac? So this is the Metal HUD. So if you type in Metal HUD onto YouTube, you're going to find all of the details there. You're going to see lots of information about how to turn this on. It basically works on every single Metal-enabled game. M116 gig, they said, is good for 1080p 30 FPS on medium or something. They released a chart. Yes, I did see that chart. $82.78 on Steam if you don't already own it. Yeah, you should have bought the Ultimate Edition when it was on sale. I've been saying it for like nearly 9 months now, I think, since this game was since this port was announced. So you should definitely like have bought it before, and you could have been playing it on crossover anyway. The Ultimate Edition still on sale on GOG. Yeah. Okay, it's 26. And I guess we can try for the lulz. I'll try Ray Tracing Ultra Metal Effects Auto as well. So this is ray tracing turned on. So obviously very taxing on this base M4 chip. One thing I'm going to do next actually is just test this on crossover. That's what I should have done with my M3 Max machine. Will I stream Hitman World of Assassination? Yes. When is that being released? Because it depends when that's being released, because I'm going to be in Taiwan as of Sunday. So I'll be traveling for 3 weeks, so I'm not sure I'm going to have that. Andrew has a video of it on M4 Pro, so I saw my M4 Pro. Can I check temperatures? Yeah, I'll check it in a minute. How does mist effects work in this game? Is it just quality and performance, or are there more options? Well, that basically determines the input resolution. Okay, so this is 14. Okay, one thing I'm gonna do is test. I'm just gonna put the for this Mac gameplay back on because I think that's quite interesting to see what that's like. And then we might compare it to some crossover stuff. I'll just compare it to crossover. So I put the for this Mac back on before I tweak, because I kind of tweaked the settings a bit too quickly. Yeah, it's targeting 30. Let's just try that again. Are you going to mainland China by any chance? I'm not going to mainland China. I'm going to go to Taiwan, which is where I often go.
Hello, Ziggy. Thanks for having me.
How does Dogtown work? I don't have a save for Dogtown, I don't think. I'm not going to test it out today. Oops, my HUD up. What did I just do? Yeah, so it's trying to cap this at the for this max setting, right? Is it seems to think that this is the best setting for this Mac. Oh, Shift FN9 seems to load your latest save. Okay, that could have been what did it. Thanks for letting me know, Pie Studios. Yeah, it seems to want to really cap this at 30 FPS, where I think that it is way more capable. ZC Tech, are you going to Hong Kong? I've been to Hong Kong. I went to Hong Kong in August last year. It was very fun. I went for like 3 days. Went to Disney, took the kids to Disneyland, and it was great. Oh, I really enjoyed that. Hong Kong's changed a lot though, from what I remember, from when I went in like 2004, 2005 or something. It's a very different kind of experience. The museums, the history museum has changed a lot. Right, very propaganda. Whoops. Okay, so it really wants us to play this at 30 FPS. And actually, you know what? It actually works really well at 30. But if I could run this at 60, then I would. So every time I would just push this into 30. And then I'll target 60. What? I just slide this over 60. Because that's the, that's the refresh rate of the screen. So, okay, apply. Because we're getting close to 45, 50 here. Yeah, 55. Obviously, a lot of the settings are lower, like crowd density and things like that, but it's still pretty cool that we have this much frame rate. Wow. Okay, good. That's very, very good. Okay, let's do a comparison with crossover. Okay, so I've got my crossover preview installed here, and I think we have the same. Let me put Steam up. I'm just gonna compare because basically on this M4 with this base M4 with high. Let's do a comparison with upscaling turned off. Okay, so we're getting 26 frames per second on the high preset. So I'm making some assumptions here. I'm making an assumption that the Windows version is the same. Are we doing an update? Okay, this is a good time for my other laptop stuff. So this is doing an update for the Windows version of Steam. So I'm gonna run this through crossover. We've got like a frame rate of like 26 FPS on the base M4 Pro with like no upscaling. What I'm gonna do is the next device I want to test is the MacBook Air, which is unsupported because it only has 8 GB of RAM. What I'm going to do is start installing this as well while this is updated. So here we go. Okay, so that's updating. This is all doing. Okay. So where did I drop the link? What link are we talking about? Oh yeah, I've got the link here for the App Store. Is that what you meant? Because I dropped a link for the App Store version of Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, 90 degrees is fine. This is doing a lot of work. The performance scores when the act of updating a game is actually quite intensive. So can this game run on an M1 8 GB MacBook Air? That is what I'm going to test today. But I'm going to be leaving in about 15 minutes because I've got a call with Apple themselves to talk about Cyberpunk. Then I'll be coming back on live for maybe an hour. Then I'll come live again. I'll get all my B-roll footage for all of the Macs that I want to be testing. Yeah, I'm downloading the Steam version of Cyberpunk right now. But I'm gonna wait for this to patch first. So this is saying it's gonna take 2 minutes. Oh, so Christopher, you just bought the App Store version. So don't you already have the Windows version? I thought everyone has the Windows version. Kind of crazy. Can anyone advise how to boost the performance? I guess you just want to put this onto if you use the for this max setting, it seems to work at nearly 60 FPS. So I don't you just tweak the dynamic resolution target frame rate to like something like 60, and then it's going to get very close to that. Tell Apple that they can need to make sure gaming on Mac can have a renaissance. Yeah, I think that gaming on Mac has so much potential, especially with something like Cyberpunk. These big serious AAA titles should just all get ported, and maybe this is a turning point. Who knows? What we've had so far is like relatively disappointing. Big expensive single player titles like quite linear experiences, which don't have a huge amount of replay value. So things like Resident Evil games, Death Stranding, don't have that much appeal necessarily. 1, 2, 3, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, so just waiting for this to patch. Yeah. My wife's just come home, and somebody called David bought 200 memberships on this YouTube channel. I think that's about £800 donation. That's nuts. Am I right for my lowest tier of membership? So that's crazy. No, I don't know. Is David still here? David, if you're still here, then shout. Yeah, that's my wife speaking. Okay, so we're going to be doing a test for crossover and comparing it. So we're looking at 20. Oh, the thing about Cyberpunk is that it's very much a GPU bound game as well. Thank you very much, Stephen Bond. If I purchase this on GOG, can I play it on a Steam Deck in case I purchase one down the road? I would just buy the Steam version if you can. The GOG version you can load on Steam. It's quite straightforward, but I would say that it's easier to just run it on through Steam itself. You can use something called Heroic to load up GOG games on the Steam Deck, but personally, I would just buy the Steam version because they're going to be similar price on it. If you set Windows to 8.11 and stuff, will run Steam, but Steam will not download. You have to manually populate the games coming for. Cool. Okay, so what I really want to see is crossover running this at 1080p. Then after that point, we'll be taking a break because I've got a call with Apple. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask about to Apple directly about crossover, about Game Porting Toolkit, about Cyberpunk port? Let me know because I compiled a list and I sent them already. But if anyone's got any like burning questions, then let me know. Okay, let's have a look. Set as the high, and we're going to have no upscaling. What? Okay, let's benchmark this bad boy. Make sure that VSync is turned off. Good. Ask Apple if they consider asking CDPR with considering to add a third-person mode. Third-person mode I've been reading about. I don't think it's happening. Nothing to do with Mac gaming. Frame timing is substantially worse compared to the native port. I'm going to be doing that M1 8GB very soon. There's basically no difference between Windows 10 and 11 bottles, so don't worry too much about that. So I'm testing on the base M4 Mac Pro with 10 GPU cores and 10 CPU cores. So what's surprising about this is that we have very similar frame rates at the low end for the high preset. The min FPS is a different number. Let me just compare this again. There's an interesting number here. 23.94 is a number to beat. Let me just do that again, and then we're going to sign off. So that's crossover preview with game porting toolkit 3, which is obviously the new version, which is faster. Yeah, this is what I'm going to be testing out. We're going to do this again. So it's a native version of Cyberpunk. Let's do 1080p high. No metal effects. Number to beat is 23 frames per second. We had a minimum FPS of 19. We've got anything weird loaded up. We don't need this open. Can I ask Apple if they're going to make GPTK an end user application? Yeah, that's definitely a question I've already asked them. Ask Apple if they consider the option to choose which languages to install in the Mac App Store. I'm sure that they've, tried to figure that problem out. What is, in their assessment, the lowest possible percent of performance loss with crossover and GPTK? I'm not sure they care that much about performance necessarily. They just want it to work. The key is to see if the native version can avoid the memory leak because it'll be very tight. Okay, interesting. So this confirms that the high preset is giving, we're going from 23 FPS on crossover to 26 FPS. So these low numbers, it's kind of hard. That's about 15%, right? Are these low numbers? It's kind of hard to see the differences, especially on low end hardware. And we're going to repeating the same test on my M3 Max machine when the time comes. Okay. The version should be the same, like the same version of the base game. I think the main difference between the App Store version and the Steam version is basically the number of audio files involved. The game quality seems terrible on info base. Will the game quality on the Mac App Store look better? It's going to be exactly the same, I think. I haven't confirmed this for sure. I wouldn't say that it's bad. It can run at 60 FPS using the full this max setting. Yeah. Ask Apple if they'll upgrade base storage. I think the answer to that is money, right? They make a lot of money through that. Can I make another video about emulator for Switch? I've made lots of videos about emulation on Switch. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just spend the last few minutes doing a bit of B-roll. Because I have a phone call in about 5 minutes, so I'm just going to do some B-roll so I can get footage for the video.
Good morning, Night City! Yesterday's
Just going to try playing the game. I do like this this setting that we can try.
Howdy, Night City.
It seems to load really fast as well, this game.
Tonight is Lieutenant Sarah, spokeswoman for the
It's in my other car now. I think this looks pretty good. Quite close to that 60%. Let me just try tweaking the settings slightly more. So we have this target frame rate, but 110 frames or not. Feels a bit juddery. Feels like something dramatic for this one. I think we can also try running this at like low settings. Performance. So there's low settings with performance. mean, it looks great for the screen. I'm all over Max. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty insane that that they're selling this game so expensively. And what's terrible is that you can't even find it. Like, whereas it should be like massive news. Like you can't even search for it. I do have the link for it, but it's kind of crazy that it's hard to find. It's actually hard to find. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining the stream today. I have a phone call to make, but I'm going to be on 2 more times today, I think. Next up, we'll be testing out the MacBook Air with the M1 chip with 8 gigabytes of RAM, seeing if it's actually possible for this to run. Yeah, they didn't even put this on the front page. This is crazy. Terrible. Oh, here we are, Cyberpunk. It's finally here. Why would you buy this at $6.99? $69.99. That's crazy how expensive this is. And it's so big as well. 149 gigabytes. It's crazy. Whereas, you know, GOG, it's $20.99 with the Mac version of the game. That's the base edition. Oh yeah, the Ultimate Edition. This is kind of what's wrong with Mac gaming, I guess. There's absolutely no reason to buy this one versus like this one here. Yeah. The thing is that this game's been on sale on Steam a lot of different times. So I can see this is the same price, but Steam's been on sale. It's been on sale for like $17.49, and it wasn't that long ago that this happened, I don't think. And if you go to Is There Any Deal? Yeah, the all-time low is $17.49. GOG is $17.49. It's currently on sale on the Epic Game Store, is that right? Yeah, it's $19.99 here. So I'm not sure why anyone would be buying the yeah, we have the Mac port of this game here. Yeah, so who's going on spending $69.99 on the App Store version, which A is way bigger, and then B is restricted to Mac only. So something a little bit odd there. I wonder how many people are actually doing that. Anyway, thank you for joining the stream. I'm going to be back really soon, I hope, probably in the next hour or so. We're going straight into M1 MacBook Air testing. Make sure to catch me for part 2. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.